Two-digit by two-digit multiplication, believed by some to be the most challenging of fourth grade math. But how can we apply our understanding of the area model to double-digit by double-digit multiplication problems? In this lesson, you will learn how to multiply a two-digit number by another two-digit number by applying your understanding of the area model for multiplication. You know that using the area model helps us see and organize the steps of multi-digit multiplication problems. This problem says we're finding the total of 6 groups with 37 in each group. We take our two-digit number and break it up using expanded notation along with the area model to multiply each place individually. Then, we add those two sections back together to find our total product. In this case, it's 6 groups of 37 totals 222. So our final product, 222. Let's look at it another way. This says we're finding the total of 26 groups with 8 in each group. This time, instead of expanding the amount in each group, I'm expanding the amount of groups to 20 and 6. Now, it's the same process as before. 20 groups with 8 in each group totals 160. And 6 groups with 8 in each group totals 48. Same process, we put the two pieces back together to get a total of 26 groups with 8 in each group for a product of 208, which becomes our final product, 26 groups times 8 in each group, 208. Looking at 26 groups with 37 in each group means we need to think about both factors in expanded notation. 20 plus 6 multiplied by 30 plus 7. We'll begin with one large rectangle and the amount in each group. In this case, it's 37. Just as before, we're going to write it in expanded notation, giving each place value its own section. This time, because our amount of groups is not a single digit, we're going to record 26 in expanded form as well, giving both place values, the 20 and the 6, their own sections. Our next step is to fill in the number sentence for each section. I'm going to begin with the 30s column. 20 times 30 and 6 times 30. Now all that's left is the 7s column. In this upper section, we're saying that we have 20 rows or groups with 7 in each group. So the number sentence is 20 times 7, equaling 140. Finally, the bottom section says 6 rows or groups of 7 in each group. So the number sentence says 6 times 7 equals 42. Now, we need to put all of those pieces together to find the total of the large rectangle. Here's how I'm going to do it. I'll begin by combining the column of 30 in each row. So our first section is 20 rows of 30 totaling 600 and 6 rows of 30 totaling 180. Now when I add those two together, I get a total of 26 rows of 30 in each row for a total 780. Now I'm going to move over to the 7s column. I'm going to add 20 groups of 7 equaling 140 to 6 groups of 7 equaling 42 for a total of 26 groups of 7 or 182. Notice that now our area model looks very similar to what a double-digit by single-digit model would look like. And that's because what we just did was break apart 26 to make the multiplying easier, and now we've put it back together, so all that's left to do now is put back together our 30 and our 7. 26 groups with 30 in each group equals 780, and 26 groups with 7 in each group equals 182. Added together, 26 groups with 37 in each group, which totals our final product. Take a moment to look over all the individual steps that we added together. You'll see that we multiplied 4 times. The common mistake you want to avoid, especially if you're not drawing out the model, is choosing the wrong numbers to multiply together. Students are often tempted to multiply the two values of one number. Think of it like a tag team wrestling match. 20 and 6 are both on the same team and they wouldn't wrestle each other. Same goes for 30 and 7. In this lesson, you have learned how to multiply a two-digit number by another two-digit number by applying your understanding of the area model for multiplication.
one more step. So everything we've done so far are a bunch of digits times a one-digit number. Now let's do a bunch of digits times a two-digit number. So let's say we want to multiply 36 times, instead of putting a one-digit number here, I'm going to put a two-digit number. So times 23. Aha. So you start off doing this problem exactly the way you would have done it if there was just a 3 down here. You can kind of ignore the 2 for a little bit. So 3 times 6 is equal to 18. So you just put the 8 here, put the 10 there, or the 1 there, because it's 10 plus 8. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 3 is 9 plus 1. So 3 times 3 plus 1 is equal to, that's 9 plus 1 is equal to 10. So you put the 10 there, there's nothing left. You put the 0 there, there's nothing left to put the 1, so you put the 10 there. So you essentially have solved the problem that 36, let me do this in another color, that 36 times 3 is equal to 108. That's what we've solved so far, but we have this 20 sitting out here, right? We have this 20. We have to figure out what 20 times 360 is. Or sorry, what 20 times 36 is. So what you do to multiply, this 2 is really a 20. And to make it all work out like that, what we do is we throw a 0 down here. We throw a 0 right there. And in a second, I'm going to explain why exactly we did that. So let's just do the same process as we did before with the 3. Now we do it with the 2, but we start filling up here and move to the left. So 2 times 6, that's easy, that's 12. So 2 times 6 is 12. We put the 1 up here, and we have to be very careful because we had this 1 from our previous problem, which doesn't apply anymore. So we could erase it, or that 1 we could get rid of. If you have an eraser, you get rid of it, or you can just keep track in your head that the 1 you're about to write is a different one. So what were we doing? We wrote 2 times 6 is 12, put the 2 here, put the 1 up here, and I got rid of the previous one because that would have just messed me up. Now I have 2 times 3. 2 times 3 is equal to 6. But then I have this plus 1 up here, so I have to add plus 1. So I get 7. So that is equal to 7. 2 times 3 plus 1 is equal to 7. So this 720 we just solved, that's literally, let me write that down. What is that? That is 36 times 20. 36 times 20 is equal to 720. And hopefully that should explain why we had to throw this 0 here. If we didn't throw that 0 here, we would have just a 2. We would just have a 72 here instead of a 720. And 72 is 36 times 2. But this isn't a 2. This is a 2 in the tens place. This is a 20. So we have to multiply 36 times 20, and that's why we got 720 there. So 36 times 23, let's write it this way. Let me write it. Let me get some space up here. So we could write 30, well, actually, let me just finish the problem, and then I'll explain to you why it worked. So now to finish it up, we just add 108 to 720. So 8 plus 0 is 8. 0 plus 2 is 2. 1 plus 7 is 8. So 36 times 23 is 828. Now you're saying, Sal, why did that work? Why were we able to figure out separately 36 times 3 is equal to 108, and then 36 times 20 is equal to 720, and then add them up like that? Because we could have rewritten the problem like this. We could have rewritten the problem as 36, let me write, the original problem was this. We could have rewritten this as 36 times 20 plus 3. And this, and I don't know if you've learned the distributive property yet, but this is just the distributive property. This is just the same thing as 36 times 20 plus 36 times 3. If that confuses you, then you don't...
Okay, here's another problem, guys. I want you to write down in your notebooks.
23 times 44. And maybe the hardest part of this problem, or maybe the first hard part, is to recognize that that dot even means multiplication. This could have also been written as 23 times 44. Or they could have written it as 23 in parentheses times 44. So you just put the two parentheses next to each other. That also implies multiplication. So now that we know we're multiplying, let's actually do the problem. So we're going to multiply 23. I'll write it bigger. We're going to multiply 23 by 44. And I'll write the traditional multiplication sign there just so that we know we're multiplying. It's not, when you write it vertically like this, you very seldom put a dot there. So let's do some multiplication. So let's start off multiplying this 4 in the ones place times 23. So you have 3 times 4 is 12. We can write 2 in the ones place, but then we want to carry the 1, or we want to regroup that 1 in the tens place. So it's 12, so you put the 1 over here. And now you have 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. So you can think about it as 4, this 4 right here times 23 is 92. That's what we just solved for. Now, we want to figure out what this 4 times 23 is. Now, what we do here is when you just do it mechanically, when you just learn the process, you stick a 0 here. But the whole reason why you're putting a 0 here is because you're now dealing with a 4 in the tens place. If you had another, I don't know, a 3 or a 4 or whatever digit, and you're dealing with the hundreds place, you'd put more zeros here. Because we're going to find out that 4 times 23 is 92. We just figured that out. If we just multiplied this 4 times 23 again, we would get 92 again. But this 4 is actually a 40, so it actually should be 920, and that's why we're putting that 0. Now you're going to see it in a second. So we have, so let me put this in a different color. So this 4 now we're multiplying. 4 times 3 is 12. Let's put the 2 right here. It should be in the tens place because this is really a 40 times the 3. Just think about it, or you can just think of the process. It's the next space that's free. 4 times 3 is 12, carry the 1. This blue one is from last time. You ignore it now. You don't want to mess that up, mess it up. That's when we multiplied this 4. So now we have 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. So what we figured out so far is 4 times 23 is 92, and this green 4 times 23 is 920, and that's because this green 4 actually represents 40. It's in the tens place. So when you multiply 44 times 23, it's going to be 4 times 23, which is 92, plus 40 times 23, which is 920. I just want to make sure we understand what we're doing here. And so we can take their sum now. Let's add them up. 2 plus 0 is 2. 9 plus 2 is 11. Carry the 1. 1 plus 9 is 10. Put a comma here just so it's easy to read every third digit. So 23 times 44 is 1012.